Good morning, everybody. This is your host, Pat Flynn. Welcome back to the Pat Flynn Show. Dan John will be joining us presently. As always, I just like to say hello, cheers. Welcome to the live stream and the podcast. We're going to be talking about a very important topic today, how to train for middle age and beyond. Now, you might be thinking, Pat, I'm not a person of a certain age just yet. That's okay. I think you're still going to get a lot out of this conversation because we're going to be covering mindset and training principles that can and will last a lifetime. So, yeah, chime in. We'll be doing Q&A towards the end. So, say hello. Let me know what you're drinking. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Like I said, Dan will be here in just a minute or two. Before he shows up, let me make a few announcements. First, got to give a plug to my book once again, because if I don't, who will? But the big news is my book was selected to be an Amazon Deal of the Month, which means it is just $4. Just $4 for the hardcover. That's crazy. I don't know I don't understand that economically. How am I going to make money off of my publisher selling this for $4, which means I'm probably not, but that's okay because I think it's a good book and I think you should have it. How to be better at almost everything. This is my generalist manifesto. It's all about how do I build and stack skills to form competitive and creative advantages in life. $4 on Amazon. You can't beat it for the hardcover or Kindle, so please check that out. There's a lot of good fitness stuff in there too. It's not a fitness book, but it does have lessons and chapters on fitness. It's a generalist book. It's all about generalism, right? So cheers. YouTube Pug says, I picked up the Kindle version. Thank you very much, good sir. I appreciate it. I've just gotten tons of great feedback. You know, it's my newest book. I'm working on my next book, but this one is my latest. And, I'm really happy with how it turned out. You know, there's always things that you would go back and want to change, but overall, yeah, I think you'll get a lot out of this. Second thing is just I want to thank give a shout out, to our sponsor, Inverted Gear. If you need kettlebells, if you're middle-aged, or even if you're not, check out invertedgear.com/discount/PatFlynn15 for all your fitness equipment needs, my friends. Kettlebells, clubs, maces, jiu-jitsu gis. They are an awesome company, and it supports the show. You get 15% off for good quality kettlebells that ship fast, and you can't beat it. So it's a win-win. There's Dan. Good morning, Dan.
Hey, hi. Give me a second. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you great. Welcome to the
stream.
Welcome.
Thank you for welcoming.
Let me make you bigger. That's better. Now we can see you better. Dan, are you ready to talk about how to train for middle age and beyond today?
Boy. You're back going through the old articles again.
I can't help myself. I always dive through your material and I'm like, oh, this would be a great podcast topic.
Okay. Yeah. Can we talk for a minute before we jump?
Of course. Yeah. Of course. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Time for a haircut. So, okay. First off, the big news, trivia team won again last night. That keeps, I think that's 3 in a row for my teams, which makes me very proud. And it's very important. I mean, a lot of people are listening going, the only thing that keeps me going is Dan's trivia stories.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So congratulations. That's a big win streak. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Big. Number 2, I picked up something. Well, I bought 2 things this week, and I don't know if I should throw another fitness professional under the.
Here comes the bus, Dan. Push him out real quick.
No, well, it cost me almost $100 for this little thing, and honestly, I was very disappointed. $100 for an online course. It took me longer to get through. And the funny thing is with the way I have it set up with my PayPal, with the ClickBank, it was just click, 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 click. It took me longer to pay for it than to read the entire thing.
Oh, that's a shame. I want to say something about that. One thing that's always kind of struck me is like the weirdness of pricing, especially between courses and books, because courses, at least even online, are often quite expensive, $100, $200, $300, $500, but you often get so much more value, honestly, and content in just a book that might just be $5. My book right now is literally less than $5 on Amazon.
$5. I would pay 6 for your book.
Thank you, Dan. That means so much. But isn't that an odd thing, right? Like, I mean, just this weird, like in terms of like information to dollar ratio, you really can get so much more from books. Now, maybe you don't get as much hand holding, but courses are priced like 10, 50 times higher oftentimes.
That's why, over with my stuff, we have those courses. I mean, they're 18, 20 parts, video, reading, questions, forum, but we keep it, I think is it $20 or 30 or whatever?
Yeah,
I mean,
don't get me wrong. Courses can be extremely valuable. It just strikes me as this kind of like odd pricing mismatch. You see what I'm saying?
I agree 100% with you.
Like I'm not even saying courses should be lower. I'm like, books should be $1,000. That's
yeah. And
good book.
It got me thinking. And I would say one thing for Pat, and you probably know the same thing, is that if I don't have to go, and I love Larry, I love Larry Draper more than, but to get all the proofreading done and all that stuff, sometimes when I don't really truly have a book, for example, I have a program that shall not be named at this moment that, people want me to make a book out of it, but it's like, it's not a book. It's like, it's like, here you go. Here's some things we discovered. Thank you very much. And then people get mad at me because I add stories. Well, I have to add stories to everything because
make it a book. Yeah.
Otherwise it's the pamphlet, it's the,
yeah.
But number two, I wanted to say on this is that then I went and yesterday, Rusty Moore came out with a new product. I can't remember what it's called. I'm sorry, Rusty, wherever you are. But it's like lightning. It's called lightning rounds. And it's an idea I wanted to just push past your idea, your brain. Cause I did a workout last night with it where you take a weight that you can do 20 to 25 reps with it. Okay. Mm-hmm. And what you do is about every 30 seconds, you do 2 to 5 reps. So last night I just tried it out. So I went and I did, with about 65 pounds, I snatched it and I did squat snatch it and did 2 overhead squats. Mm-hmm. And I set my timer for 35 seconds. So 65 pounds is not a killer Olympic snatch. Okay.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, about having to hold tension and just have tension pulse every 30 seconds, have this tension pulse. By God, I got about 20, 25 minutes into it. And I was like, okay, I understand it now, which brings me to why I wanted to say it. You have that thing with the 300 swings and somebody went up to you with the 500 swings for like 20 days.
The arrogance, Dan.
It was like, I think that comes out like 10,000 swings. And I think you should do it with a kettlebell. And I guess it's quite a challenge. Mm-hmm. Maybe we could, here's a name. I got it. 10,000 kettlebell swing challenge. Mm-hmm. Write that down.
I'll send it to T Nation.
Thank you. I mean, what if you did every 30 seconds, 5 swings?
Yeah. Yeah, I've become increasingly a fan of this sort of very sub-maximal on-the-minute type of stuff. In fact, I did it yesterday with just clean and push press using a very light weight, but it was a tremendous routine overall. So I'm curious and interested. We should say I'm curious.
So if you're doing the Pat Flynn 300, mm-hmm. And you go, okay, so on the 12 and on the 6, every 30 seconds you do 5 swings. And it gives you plenty of time to shake it out. It gives you plenty of time to, for me, I mean, I did a few things in my garage. I mean, 8-second jobs, put this back where it belongs and stuff like that, but it would take you 30 minutes to do 300 swings. And I think to myself, you know what, that's pretty repeatable.
It is. That's something you could do if you're middle-aged.
Yeah. And you just can't wait to get into this.
just making sure we cover our bases. No, this is really good, and it also has that kind of like the blips that we talk about, right? The blip, and then you kind of come back down, and you blip it up, and you come back down.
Right.
And by the end of my routine yesterday, it's like I never was working like extremely hard at any given time, but I had a dang good cardio power workout, with a not really heavy weight. So yeah.
Yesterday, every 30 seconds, basically, I did 3 overhead squats. And I don't care who you are. I don't care what the load is, but it's working out to almost 6 a minute. The math doesn't work perfectly, but close enough. Mm-hmm. When I got to 20 minutes, again, the math's not going to work out. That's a lot of squats.
Yeah. So
and
great.
It doesn't matter if it's 65 pounds or 35 pounds, it's pretty good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. So lots of good, just quality movement practice,
Yeah.
and a lot of, call it side benefits. So do you mind? Yes. Share more of the structure. So again, it's, you're working very sub-maximal in terms of weight, and not very many reps either. Correct? So you said between 2 and 5. Was that
2
what
and
you said?
5, yeah. And he has a good point in there. We go, folks. His name is Rusty Moore, Moore. I've mentioned him on the podcast many times. And as everybody knows, I don't get any money for this. And Pat will tell you, when I meet someone who I think makes a difference and is credible and honest, I become their number one fan.
Just trying to share good resources.
So
always appreciated.
I've appreciated Pat for a long time, and so. And the other thing too is he has this. And as I was going through it, I finished both courses. $112 poorer, but I finished both courses and I went through them. But one of the things I do like is he has this idea of lifting, training almost every day, where you do like, okay, so man, you could do with put them up on a box, for example. You would do 10 minutes of push-ups, but elevated just at first to get used to it. So every 35 seconds, you would do 2 to 5 push-ups,
Sure.
So you do the elevated push-up there, it's on the chair, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, boom. Oh, that's not very much. Yeah, but 35 seconds later, 1, 2, 3. Okay. And you do that for 10 minutes, and maybe you do, take something light like 14Ks or 16K kettlebells, 1, 2, 3. Put them down. 30 seconds later. So you do that for 10 minutes. Then he had a really interesting point. He did ab wheel.
Love it.
But he did reps at 2, which I would recommend, because once you burn up those abs, one sneeze from an ab cramp, which is one of the worst things that you could have in your life. But if you did 2 ab wheels, then it stood up between every set for Utapunk said Rusty Moore or less. Okay, that's actually kind of funny. But you do the 2 ab wheels, you pop up. You do the 2 ab wheels, you pop up. So that's 4 ab wheels a minute for half an hour. Here's the thing: your heart rate is going to bounce because of that up down.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm getting a weird echo. I'll just keep talking. Yeah. What I've learned with these routines is the first one, I don't know, maybe 4 rounds, you'll think you're joking. But like very quickly by round 6 or 7, you realize you're not joking. That this is actually a serious routine.
Right. And here's the thing I liked about it. And I would say I feel comfortable with this idea, my friend. Okay, I'm a pretty experienced Olympic lifter. And what I liked about minute 15, 16 or so is I felt that I was greased. I felt everything was, my shoulders felt good. My hips felt good. My lower back was like, okay, got it. And so there's that. Now, someone's going to ask, do you get stronger? Is this for hypertrophy? And I don't know. I do know that at the end of the 30 minutes, I felt really good.
So this fits the theme, I think, actually really well today, because this is something that I think would check a lot of boxes for the general. It's like, yeah, you're going to get stronger. You're going to burn calories. You're going to get your cardio. You can practice your mobility. You can do the ab wheel, which we love. How would you then, maybe don't give away all of Rusty's stuff. We, of course, would want to encourage people to get the course. But how would you, Dan, kind of structure this maybe as a weekly schedule for somebody? Because I really like this idea. So maybe we could brainstorm a little bit more about it.
Right now, I'm in the stumbling part. I haven't yet. Someone said something negative on one of my forums about my 3x3x3 Olympic lifting program. And I was like, have you done it? But one of my thoughts is I'm already finding myself as the weather, it is changing. We're here in November in Utah, things change quickly. But one thing I was thinking is that maybe, I have a half hour, 40-minute period. Well, maybe 10 minutes of, like I did yesterday, hang snatch, overhead squat, 10 minutes of squat clean, 10, you know what I'm saying? And then 10 minutes of the pressing. So I'm getting the whole workout in, but the volume will be off the roof, in a 10-minute period. I don't think I'll get 60 reps. That would be of overhead squats. but I'm certainly going to get in the 50s, which is a lot of overhead squats.
Mm-hmm.
With the squat clean, I'll probably be able to get 2 per 35 seconds. So that would be, 40 squat cleans. I mean, that's a lot of squat cleans. And then the press, because I'm a press monster, I could probably go fairly heavy. So you could either do it in a half-hour period. And one thing, by the way, since it's a Rusty Moore program, there's always one big thing. You walk after. You go for a walk.
Always go for the walk, right?
But
so
that was
just to be clear, this was you did 2 courses. One was not good, and then Rusty's you are very much enjoying. Is that the original story? Okay.
And the one that I didn't enjoy was almost $100, and the one that I did enjoy is $15. Rusty had a more complete program. It's a reminder for me. Brian is an amazing guy. I had a problem on and I think we might have banned some people. I don't understand nobody. But what I did yesterday, so Pat, is I had a double session. So I had my morning workout, my 3x3x3x3.
Yeah.
And then later in the afternoon, here's what's happening, Pat. And I don't know if what's going on in my, the other stuff, but I was going to take the dog for a walk and go over and coach, and it just didn't work out. I had to babysit Leo. I guess what I'm trying to say is life punch.
Life happens, right?
So
yeah.
I had this plan of going at 4:00, take the dog for a walk, meet somebody to help. I was going to do some help with their track and field stuff, and I had to watch Leo. I had to do this. Everything stopped. And by the time I got done with all that, I was like, I just don't want to go outside. So I went in the gym and did this little thing, and I think I got more out of it than my afternoon walk. And then I did go for loops around I have this massive block,
Yeah.
And the dog stayed with me some of the time, and the rest of the time he sniffed, and I didn't have to worry. He could sniff because he was safe. And so I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. And, it hits on a theme we've talked about before of this idea of like floor and ceiling. And the idea is, when you're, I guess, setting targets for yourself, especially in fitness, like don't just have like one really high ideal target that you're shooting for.
8% body fat or death.
Right. Because or like some extravagant workout, because if you don't hit it, then you're gonna feel like a loser. You're gonna get discouraged. You're gonna quit. Give yourself a range and saying like, hey, if I can, like it's good to still have high targets in that range and to like shoot high. But then like, hey, if I just do this workout instead, I'm still above the floor. That's still success. So have this sort of success range. Okay, life happened today. I'm not going to do the ideal routine, but I've got this other routine in my back pocket. Very low barriers to entry. Always doing something. And like that just simple mindset shift, I think, is so huge, because then you see yourself as succeeding, right? Rather than failing. And it keeps the consistency going, which long term is critical, right?
And I know it must sound weird. There's got to be a listener going, man up and go for your damn walk. But sometimes that's not the way things work.
Yeah.
And I'm 64 and I've manned up many times in my life. And sometimes you just don't feel like taking the dog for a walk and putting, bringing the bag and, putting the chain.
yeah, I know. I got a St. Bernard, Dan. I know.
And it's just, I know, yeah. And again, when I say it out loud, you just kind of go, oh, so you chose to snatch an overhead squat versus taking the dog for a walk.
Yeah, instead of the poop bag and the chain. Yeah, actually I did. This is dog ownership.
One thing I did like is that Rusty is a big kettlebell believer. So, he always in the programs always includes, kettlebell options. And
nice.
Frankly, I mean, if you got goblet squatted, there's your workout for the day. Folks, here's your workout for the day. Every, at the 12 and at the 6 on your 101 Dalmatians clock.
Yeah.
Or your Spice Girls clock, or whatever clock you inherit from
Spice Girls clock. Yeah.
Those are both my gym. Those are 2 of my gym clocks.
You got the original Spice Girls clock, Dan.
I wish I had kept that. That would have been a lot of pay off my house. you know, when it hits 2, you know, do 2 or 3 goblet squats. When it hits the 6, do 2 or 3 goblet squats. When it hits the 12, do 2 or 3 goblet squats. When it hits the 6,
Yeah.
and do that for, you know, and the next day, be sure you eat your fiber, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that's actually a good segue. I should have mentioned before that I have to end a little bit earlier today because
Oh,
of other obligations. But this was good because I think this ties in, and I do want to get to Q&A. But anyway, we don't have to look at your previous article, Dan, because I know your thoughts are evolving. But you do have this article on your blog.
make sure that.
Um, yeah, well, here I'll just give them a quick peek. But it looks like this.
Oh, that's
And
lovely.
and it's beautiful, isn't it? Just beautiful gray on gray, and
Gray
it's
on
just
gray.
gray
Great.
on gray. And yeah, really nice article, training for middle age and beyond. I will link it in the show notes so people can read the original thing. But yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on this, Dan. And you know, how has your thinking evolved on this at all?
Well, I
Is there,
can't see it, so that my thinking is that I need either new glasses or oh my god.
well, look at that. Look at that. So here we
Oh yeah,
have
right.
we
Oh
have Dan John's Big 10 list here of just like, you know, general points.
yeah. Well, I mean, you know what? Don't smoke. Wear a seatbelt, helmet. Learn to fall and recover. Yep, yep. Eat more protein. Eat more fiber. I would include on now. I would probably say eat more vegetables, fermented food. Yeah, and just to be, you know, just to be clear, because people take more fish oil. I tell you, folks, I take what I do now with fish oil, folks, is I dose it. So I'll take it for a couple of months and then stop. Take it for a couple of months and then stop.
Cycle it. Yeah, I just always cycle all my supplements as a
Yeah,
sort of
okay.
general policy, right?
Because I've really upped my flax seed and my chia seed in so I'm getting plenty of that other kind. I mean, I'm getting plenty of the but I'm not. So yeah, the fish oil, the flax seed, and the chia seed all have those wonderful omegas in there for you.
Mhm.
The only problem is, you know, so, and they're all good for your let's just say digestion, the end part of your digestion. Drink more water, still true. Floss your damn teeth, absolutely. And the last two, build some muscle and improve joint mobility. Yeah, I stand by all 10 of those. There's
Right. And those last two are so important. We
oh,
know
it's
that maintaining that lean muscle as you age is
uh,
so critical. So critical.
lean body mass is just it's fascinating to watch it drip off me. It is such a daily fight. And you know what, I could, you know, in fact, I had a conversation with somebody yesterday. We were talking about, well, you know, your memory loss, Dan, if you just started doing, you know, hormone replacement therapy. And I'm like, yeah, but I've got a 7-month-old up there that I want to see in high school. So, you know,
Yeah, people are
have you
getting
been
really
following?
pushy with the
Oh
hormone
yeah.
crap lately. Yeah, it's
Well,
a
what's
weird. Yeah.
interesting is that
But yeah, I don't need your testosterone, friend. I'm all right. Now I'm still relatively young, but like amazing how
oh,
prevalent it's become among people my age, right? They're all
and if you don't
taking
mind
this
your
crap.
fellow
Yeah.
Wisconsinite, this, you know, your fellow Wisconsinite who gets his medical information from a person who does a talk show, you know, that person who gives that talk show who used to be whose credits include news radio and being on the Man Show, you know, that's almost the same as going to medical school. Is, you know, sometimes I've heard these conversations and they really push this stuff, but the problem is, you know, long term,
Mhm.
you know, and you know, about a week or so ago, I got a picture of one of the teams I was on, and I swear to God, there's 3 people alive in the photo.
Yeah, you know, somebody I
My
just got an I
my
just got
coach
a
and me.
I just got a research article. I haven't had time to go through it yet, so I can't comment on it fully yet. But that somebody sent me in light of one of these. Another bodybuilder just died from a heart attack or something, and the article reviews the real serious consequences of, you know, manipulating your hormones for various reasons, right? Long term consequences. So it's real, friends, right? It's like be aware of it. You know, yes, obviously many short-term gains to be had from that sort of thing. But we're trying to play the long game here at the Pat Flynn
And
Show,
good,
right?
and honestly, and good for you. I mean, you know, you're going to win the, you know, I look better on the beach in Cancun award, and then, but 5 years later, you know, you're a wreck. And I'm actually thinking of a specific person right here.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Right. Cheers. All right. So, anything else you want to say about just training for middle age, or should we head to some questions here, Dan?
Well, I think one of the things you have to do past a certain age and I don't know what that age, but I'm guessing in the mid-30s, okay, is that you have to get yourself in this idea that you have to train every day. And the habit of exercising is probably, okay, let's just say this. A bunch of people come to you at age 40. At age 40, a bunch of people come in and they're asking for advice. And none of them have ever taken nutrition or exercise seriously. I would start with exercise first. Now, this is going to get pushback from my nutrition friends, but I think the habit of exercise is more important to instill long-term than to clean up the nutrition side. But what's going to happen when you fix the exercise side is that you're going to probably get into that group of 5 thing. You're
the sum or the average of the 5 people that you hang around with, right?
So once you start exercising, I mean, for example, in my case, I train with like, a typical Thursday, we got Ben, we got Sarge, we got Erica, we got Mike, we got Kevin, Andrew, Mike, and Mike. I'm 64. If you add up all their ages, I think it comes to 64, but I'm around people who talk about exercise. We talk about things. That conversation leads naturally into conversations about vaccines. It leads naturally into conversations about better ways to make your oatmeal. It leads naturally into conversations about drinking more water. I tried this electrolyte thing, and this hangover cure is also a great post-hard workout cure. A lesson I learned, by the way. Hangover cures are cheaper than Pedialyte. So you can get these little boxes of hangover cure.
Oh, is that right? Interesting.
Form a thing, and they're the same. It's the same thing. It's like, well, okay, Pedialyte's $5 a bottle, and this stuff, pennies.
Right.
So you get this momentum going. So first off, I would say try to get into the habit of daily exercise first. In your daily exercise, after that, whatever that age we came up with, there's going to be kind of 3 things you want to really focus on, and it's different than what you would focus on at 16. I would say first, you got to have walking into your system somehow. The magic of lower back work, that it'll cure your lower back. It's a pill you take for half an hour every day. Joint mobility work has to be emphasized. That's why we have 2 tonic days a week that are mobility days. And then the third thing is it's okay actually to train like a bodybuilder.
Yes, to really focus on the muscle building, right?
Which is just something, which is something that we have it flipped upside down. Most people come into weightlifting, look good naked. They say they bodybuild, and then they discover the other sports, and then they realize what you should do is probably Olympic lift, power lift, and then bodybuild. That's probably a better order to go through life.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because keeping that lean muscle becomes so increasingly important. Plus,
look at me right now, and I just feel fat and bloated as I look at myself. Yeah, sure, I have massive pipes, but at my age, your hour. I mean, I was back in Quantico this weekend. And I jumped on the scale Monday and was like, oh my God, why did you jump on the scale? Now, obviously, I mean, it's the food, it's travel food with,
I'll get you.
But, it's just like every Monday is a whole new eye opener for you when you're at 64. It's like, how did I lose all that progress from that last week? Well, you just did. So it is a daily exercise issue. And honestly, too, when it comes to nutrition, don't be eat like your great grandparents did. There you go.
That's great.
And the country they were from.
Yeah, beautiful. I like that. Let's take some questions here. Squeeze a few in.
Absolutely.
YouTube says, for Pat and Dan, besides kettlebells, what other equipment or tools are in a minimalist's home gym?
I swear we've answered this before, haven't we? But I think
it's a common question.
Yeah, a good kettlebell. I would suggest for most strong men a 28. For the rest of you, something less.
Already are. ab wheel, throwing the ab wheel in there, right?
Well, the nice thing is if you have a suspension trainer, you can kind of do those weird suspension trainer lean outs.
The extensions, right? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, a good ab wheel They'll cost you
Which
about,
should only be like $9, right?
about $10. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
got the best in the market. I
yeah,
spent.
there's really, that's the thing about the ab wheels. Like, you do one thing with ab wheel, and that's ab wheel, but it's only $9, and it takes up this much space. So just
Yeah.
get the ab wheel.
But and then from there, and I've discussed this to death, but then it just becomes what you want. But a simple kettlebell, a suspension trainer. I like your ab wheel. And then you might want to slide over it to make sure you got some kind of good. I've got about I don't know. I must have 10 or more pads for the ground because people just donate them. Just something to put your knee on. But then from there, it's going to be I bought that. It's a pull-up dip with a push-up handles on it.
Yeah.
Like $179. I thought that was a pretty good investment for a home gym.
Yeah, just one of the freestanding
Yeah.
towers. Yeah, right.
Towers,
Yeah. No, definitely. I think for a relatively low investment versus all the things you do with it, I think that is a smart thing.
mean,
yeah.
I'm a barbell guy, and I have 3 Olympic bars in my gym.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd have to be able to defend that because they do take up a lot of space. I have a world-class home gym. I mean, it is. I mean, Men's Health said so. They called it America's top gym. I got bumper plates. I've got 2 hip. So I have 2 hip thrust machines from Brett Contreras. I've got racks. I've got chains. I've got every Highland game equipment. 32 plus kettlebells. There might be more. It might be almost 40 now. Mats. The whole row of TRXs. The RIP trainers. Everything. I mean, every farmer walk implement ever invented, I have. I mean, I have a ton of stuff, but when it comes down to most of the time, I can either just have a single kettlebell, the 28, or I can have my barbell and Olympic bars and do everything I ever need to do the rest of my career. It's mostly just a matter of what you want.
Yeah, good. Dave says, love listening to you too. He's drinking coffee with cream. Cheers to you, Dave.
Coffee with nothing. But it'll throw you off. You might think it's creamy.
Kirill says, this podcast makes my day. Checking in from Finland. He's just having his coffee as well. Good to see you guys.
From Swami.
That's
how they swim, right?
All right, let's see. I'm all right. Looking for questions now. All right, Kirill, here's a question. He says, I'm pressing my 32-kilogram bell for sets of 3 and listening. Is 3 sets of 8 too much? Not sure I understand the actual question here.
I would say, yeah. I mean, that's fine. I mean, when you say it's too much, it's like, no, that's just, that's part of a workout. But I like the idea that you're doing I like the idea that you're pressing a bell. I mean, I think that's great. No, I don't. Yeah, that's great.
Just restate the question, Kirill. If we can get back to it, we will. Jared says, with myself and clients, it seems the goblet squat just works better than double kettlebell front squats without straightening the low back. Have you experienced this yourself?
I think that's an interesting thing. I talk about that anaconda strength a lot, Jared. And I think maybe some of your clients haven't yet learned to turn their the area between their neck and their knees into like an inner tube on a bicycle. That
right.
And that might. So remember, one of the things that I like so much about the Zercher, the goblet squat, the double kettlebell squat, is it makes you turn your body into a weightlifting belt. It teaches you to wrap your belt. So if you're straining the lower back, I would say that happened. That's a journey that got you there. If you follow my point. Yeah. I mean, here, frankly, I'm going to tell you straight up, Jared. I've noticed with my Olympic squat cleans lately, I'm getting this little bark in my lower back, and I'm like, and my first thought was not to blame squat cleans. The first thought was, that's on me, bro. I need to. Obviously, something's going on in my training that I'm not getting the feeling of my ab wall, where you squeeze out,
Right. Related question. Michael says, goblet squats for weight, reps, or both?
Well, I mean, that would be, and no matter what the exercise is, the answer would be both. Yeah. I mean, what you put anything in there.
Yeah. I love both the front squat and the goblet squat, as I think you do as well, Dan. But I think it's right that somebody should really spend some time with the goblet squat before moving to that front squat. Such a good teaching tool, and the potato sack squat too. Thanks to Dan as well. All right, let's see what we have here. We have some people sharing recipes. That's nice. Are you still doing the overnight oats, Dan? I see some people
Oh
talking
yeah.
about that. Yep.
Uh,
What do you put in yours?
oh, if, if you go to Instagram, I actually have a video on how I do it.
There you go. All right. Well,
So
go to Instagram.
yeah, go to Coach Dan John, and I actually show you the whole, and it's a video where I show you how I make it, and then I add kimchi to it. But there's two problems today. One, I ran out of kimchi last night, so I have to go to my favorite Korean market here in Murray. In fact, I'll do it right after I lift, and so I'll be at the Korean market in about 2 hours. Yeah. So
Perfect. All right. Well, head to Instagram and see Chef Dan make some overnight oats. In the meantime, we'll take another question. This one comes from Riley. He says, missed the start of the podcast, but I was curious, do you have any specific training recommendations for a new parent?
watching Thomas and Lindsay try to juggle it, it reminds me of me trying to juggle it. You all of a sudden, Riley, it'll make more when you read my work. It'll make a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think Kelly and Lindsay, those are my daughters, have made me a better strength coach than 99% of the bullshit I've listened to in my life. Because when you got two starving middle schoolers, when you've got a screaming baby, that changes your workouts. That's when I moved into the more minimalist stuff. I mean, everyone says, "Oh, Dan, I love when I read online. Well, he's a minimalist." No, I'm not a minimalist. If I had state funding or $1 billion bank, I'd probably train 3 hours a day, and the rest of the time going into masseuses and
right.
But when you've got 15 minutes to work out, that's it. You figure it out. And so, Riley, if you're reading my easy strength work, that's for you. Easy strength I did for you. Loaded carries is for you. Most kettlebell workouts are for you.
Yeah. Congrats, my friend. I mean, your life is about to get crazy, but wonderful. And yeah, I mean, I will go back to what we said before. Make sure you have those ranges, right? And make sure that you adjust your expectations accordingly. I mean, when we had our first Roan, I mean, my ability to exercise like I had done essentially my entire life up until then immediately and drastically changed, right? Immediately and drastically changed, right? And not just from the time constraints and balancing all the additional commitments. Also just, I mean, you're just darn tired, right? Because I apparently cannot produce a single child that can sleep through the night. I'm genuinely incapable. My wife will never let me, let go of this because she's a perfect sleeper, always have. I've always been a terrible sleeper. All the kids got that for me. So constantly through the night, waking us up. I mean, to this very day, right? So there's that too. And look, some days you get some good days, you take advantage of it, you're grateful for it, but you just always got to do something. If nothing else, just taking the kid for a walk, right? You can always take the kid for a walk, and oftentimes
strollers are your and loaded carry the kid.
Carry the kid. Yep. Play get ups with the kid or whatever you want. But yeah, that's just what you got to do. You just got to do it. Yep. And it gets more interesting and fun. I mean, my older kids, they work out with me now a lot of times. So it's cool. It's cool to have that. All right, let's see here. We feel good after working out. I think this is more of a comment than a question. Here, Riley has a follow-up. They're expecting the first child in April. Okay, so child hasn't arrived yet, and he wants to know any specific training, physical, mental, or emotional, that you'd recommend to be ready for it. So training leading up. I would start adjusting your expectations now, honestly. Start adjusting your training now so you don't have this radical shift, right?
I mean, do your best to have a home gym, that's what saved my life. With the upper limit is where I trained. And then of course, and we had someone helping us watch Kelly. And then one day the upper limit closed and I had a barbell and I still have the plates, 235s and 225s. And I had to completely restructure how I trained, getting ready for the American Open, in Minnesota, Olympic lifting meet, I had 165 pounds to train for the American Open weightlifting meet. And that's when I came up with the transformation program, 3 sets of 8 with a minute rest and these Olympic lifting moves. And my other people look at my programs and go, why the hell did you do that? And Riley, in about a few months, you're going to go, oh, it makes sense why he did that.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Because that I never believed in rest periods. I never have. It's just, but when you have a child, having those structured rest periods and judging everything on the 3rd set of 8, not the 1st, really helped me.
Yeah.
Honestly, some of this stuff I discussed earlier in the podcast. I'm going to do, every 30 seconds, I'm going to do 2 push-ups for 5 minutes. I don't know what that will come out to.
Yeah.
But it's not 5 that's a hell of a lot if you did it in 5. That's 50 push-ups. Just come up with stuff, invent things. Use a clock, because the clock will help you a lot. It'll keep you, your clock will become your assistant coach.
Yeah. Excellent. Very good. Okay. One more. Sorry, we have to end early today, but life happens sometimes. Yeah, I know. Wally says, I was doing Tabata thrusters that Dan had in one of his books.
No, I'm very clear in my articles. I told people not to do that, Wally. This is what drives me crazy about. I came away from that. I'm sorry, Wally. I don't mean to bark, but they suck. Thrusters are an idiotic exercise, and I apologize. I trusted some people when they told me the thrusters. I added them. They're a junk exercise. They're useful in teaching 1 or 2 small things. They have no value. Thrusters are a crap move. I apologize, Wally. You probably read the book called 4 Minutes to Fitness, the article 4 Minutes to Fitness. And I totally regret having the thruster in there. And so go ahead.
So Wally just wants to know, is there anything else that you would put in for that in that time template?
There's only one. There's like, if you're going to do Tabatas with in the weight room, there's only probably 2, maybe 3 exercises that work. The barbell front squat works if you're right next to the rack and you have the curve, and it's got to be lift, go, 3, 2, lift, go, 4, 3, lift, go. Kettlebell goblet squats work, and if you're good at the clean, the double kettlebell front squat works. But most people aren't good enough.
Beautiful.
Because they get that elbow out technique, and that crush at minute 2 or 3 when you're tired. That elbow out technique crushes you. Okay.
Yeah. Hey Dan, before we go, what are you working on? Anything coming down the pipeline at Dan John University?
Yeah, we Brian and I talked for a while, and I'm just trying to figure out that. But I want to do that hip displacement continuum, the one I teach at. I was with the FBI this weekend. And the funny thing, the guys will come up, and these are experienced. These are the FBI, so college grads, prior service, almost everybody. Police departments, special teams, military, Marine Corps. And then when I explain that, it's like I get this from those guys. Wow, holy cow! Something as simple as folding versus hinging versus squatting. So I'm gonna start pasting that together as a free course. Maybe. I don't know. What do you call it when you mix a rhinoceros with an elephant? Hell if I know. Wait. Yeah. Rhino. Yeah, I got it right. Okay. So I just saw mentally, I know where I want. I'm just gonna have to put it together.
Yeah. Awesome. Very good. Well, as always, an absolute joy. So, gentle listeners, please check out Dan's original article. I'll link it in the show notes. Check out danjohnuniversity.com. And until next time, gentle listeners, we will catch you here again on the Pat Flynn Show. Thank you, Dan.
Love you, man. Thanks for everything. Okay.
Adios.